Oh boy.
And we were in Brazil, so that is why I am bringing it up. Dark Zero prevailed 7-5 on their own map of Chalet. Obviously, they had some big roster changes. Are they going to continue a hot, quote-unquote, streak? Because GK made them work for it. It wasn't that easy. Console, it's a different ballgame. It's GK's map. GK's going to be starting on attack, Dark Zero on defense. We really didn't talk a lot about operator bans back in map number 1 because I didn't think they actually had that much impact. Do you see anything so far through Dokkaebi and Montaigne being banned? Now, Dokkaebi, by the way, was banned.
Yeah.
Number 1 as well. Do you see anything immediately that jumps to mind?
I mean, you gotta speak of the Monty, right? Like, Dark Zero, they're not known to play a ton of Monty, but Canadian does have the occasional time where he does bring it out, but he's not like, what I would say, like a fantastic Monty player. He does it because he has to. He's not... Oh, but how do I bring this to Parker? Kino is no longer an active player because of his Monty.
He's here.
I know.
He's here in Brazil, by the way.
We can't keep talking about Kino.
He's
it's rude.
I didn't want to sound rude, but when I saw Kino, he was getting food for M80.
Yeah. Oh no.
He said something like, he's like, I'm the analyst / like errand boy.
Oh man. Oh, I hope he lands his feet in a different team as an active player.
Nick, what is it like single-handedly getting Kino kicked off of M80
No.
for excoriating him over his Monty play? What do you mean we did that? You were absolutely the aggressor in that situation.
Okay,
I was along for the ride, and I antagonized you.
You're like Robin to my Batman. You're certainly helping me get that done. That's for sure.
You're the Batman?
Yeah, I'm the...
First and foremost, iconic.
I am the Knight. That is iconic.
Batman is... Iconic is Batman.
Okay.
I was waiting last night for the iconic Batman tweet.
Oh, and it came this morning, right? Or this night? Yeah.
It's like a picture of like Gotham.
Yeah.
And I was like...
It's time.
Good luck, W7M. Which, by the way, we are casting them.
Yep.
I don't know what's happening with my voice there. This is what happens when you don't cast for 3 months. We are casting M80 versus W7M later today in the very final matchup here on the A stream. I'd like to remind everybody that the B stream is ongoing as well. Currently, Lynx and Stokes are casting over yonder, literally just a few feet away from us, maybe some meters if you don't know what feet are. But stay with us because, you know, we're better.
It's hard. We're hard.
Sorry, Lynx, but I'm better than you. Okay. You think you're better than me? I sure am. Look at this! Hashem on Amaru already in the building. Now, not near the bomb site because the bomb site's on the first floor in lobby, but they've managed to open up the wall on the top floor, got what looked like Hashem was in yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, still there. Oh, Bolo doesn't know. Bolo doesn't know. Bolo's dead.
Can't win that. That's an impossible gunfight to win.
Let me use the Bolo word. Unfortunate.
That is what he would say there, isn't it? That Nalara, I'm dead. Unfortunate. Now Bambasu, struck with a bit of fear, knows that yellow staircase, not the place you want to be against a shotgun when it's up against you. And GK done a great job here. They get that early pick and they slow things down. The way you can look at kills in Siege, like when you get a kill, you're taking it by some time on the clock because there's less opponents against you, less things to deal with. So you just buy yourself 20 seconds, take it slow. Panda makes a bunch of noise with his teammate that goes down first of NTR. He got baited, but Panda gets the trade 1-for-1. Feels bad if you're NTR, feels kind of funny if you're Pambasu.
And Pambazoo's got information on those drones, still playing safely on yellow stairs because, well, you can't shoot through those floors whatsoever. I'd like to reaggress now, heading back up to the top. The track stinger's out now as well, and this...
A grenade!
I was gonna say, is this the first time that we've seen a frag grenade be used?
It almost killed Canadian.
It did. It did some damage to him. He manages to get away. That's not Canadian, that's Bolo. That is, however, Pambazoo.
That's bad luck. You run past the barricade. Oh, the flank? No way.
He might be able to pull this off. He's just a little bit slow. Wary of what might be below him, but just cannot outduel Gridlock. The F90 is a formidable gun. Now it's all up to Nafe and Canadian, both members of FBI on the Pulse and the Castle. Canadian on Pulse, be able to give information and continue to call it. But man, oh man, this is going to be a tough job because there's still an IQ on the board for GK.
Yeah, it was a big loss to lose Pambasu upstairs. He had vert control, could see the bomb side, and might even have gotten that kill on so seriously in the Gridlock, but now it's 2v4 instead. Canadian downstairs at C4 and Parker could maybe get something done, but he gets the scanner out instead, sees the flank opportunity, but has to win the gunfight. Tricks planting, gets off it, gets one kill, it's 2v3 favoring GK.
Key needs to get in there. Diffuser in the hands of Noodle. Time running out at this point. Key eliminating Nath. Canadian can stop this in his tracks, but he needs to pick the right target. Where is the diffuser going down for Noodle? Canadian seems to have an idea. Gets tossed up, and he gets Noodle, but literally the second that the diffuser goes down, he's given his position away. They know he's lurking down below. Could be impactless kills now as Canadian will tussle on that first floor. It's a keep away as a flash goes out, but it misses Canadian still with his eyesight. Seriously and Key will now watch what appears to be the only way in towards the site for Canadian, and it's Seriously to get the kill. Geekay starting off with a victory in round 1.
Would have been a beautiful C4 to win the round with 0 seconds left. And Troy, I'm not sure if they had like a bit of missed intel or he just like doubted the situation there. We saw he put out the scanner, he saw a member to his left, didn't see the guy actually planning to his right. So he wiggled back and forth, maybe thinking, okay, sound says one direction, but the scanner said another. And just that split second of doubt, the hesitation, it cost him that round victory. But otherwise, a beautiful C4 attempt. Pambusu dying earlier upstairs inside of CEO. That could have changed the outcome of the round as well. Very small things not going their way, but it's Geekay just early round, Amaro in the building, getting a lot of map control established and doing that good old take from they're everywhere. They breach the meeting walls, they're in yellow stairs, they have a person in the basement early on, they open the castle barricade with a grenade who almost takes down Canadian. They were just really fighting from every single distance. Look at this. He just gets it planned.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
It's like half a second or something. And I mean, I do love to see Canadian on the pulse though. It's such an iconic operator for him, and of course one of the most experienced players on that particular operator throughout time.
If you're wondering why we are not in the game, there's currently a tech pause. Both teams have lost at least one player. I'm not sure what the reason is for it, but they are slowly rejoining the lobby.
It's a calm before the storm. So, you know, some...
You're not technically allowed to talk during technical timeouts, so I think a word here or there is fine, but you can't calm. There's no strategies that can be discussed.
Don't believe so, no.
I love that GK is running the low spanner, by the way. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good, right? Also,
run the banner of the team that knocked DZ out of Atlanta.
And it's like a fire. It's like we're on fire as well. It's like when you get commendated in Siege, you get that fire emblem next to your name. It's like that.
It was the logo they used when they were Los 1, if I remember correctly. Remember when Team 1 merged with Los?
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
Be interesting to see how Los does at this event. Runners-up at the Atlanta Major for those that watched our most recent LAN event, which was all the way back in November. Very reminiscent of their run through Mexico, where a team that didn't seem like they were even going to make it out of their group suddenly explodes and performs admirably. I mean, we got a team that's got both Loban and Maya on it. You can never really count out that team. It doesn't matter. You could put 3 of me on the team. And I honestly think that Maya could carry my sorry ass through the match.
Might be possible, actually. And it's funny because
you're supposed to hype me up there.
I'm sorry, but
shut me down. You're supposed to hype me up. You're supposed to be like, no, dude.
You know what? We should get the meme invitationals going again, and you can prove your worth to me, to everybody else. Live on broadcast. Okay, then.
For those that are unfamiliar with the history behind it, Dark Zero got humiliated on their second map against Los, losing 7-0, and then were bounced out of the Atlanta Major as Los went on that miracle run. The second time that organization has done that. They went on a miracle run back in Mexico when Alimao was on the team.
Yep, that was his upbringing. Against T2, him and Lagonis had a 2v5 clutch, and next thing you know, Alimao was flying to Europe to join T2, who he beat out of Tournament Fire.
See, what he did was he invested in Team 1. And then he withdrew his savings and spent it on a ticket to Europe to go join G2.
Very nice.
And now, Carl was in action earlier today. For those that didn't watch the matchup, it was on stream. Immediately preceded this match. For those of you that don't want to be spoiled, close your ears for the next 3 seconds. G2 prevailed. It's a 2-0.
Yep. Clean victory over NIP.
G2-0.
G2, yeah, that's the way they go. 7-2 G2 or G2-0 in this round, however, is very G2 slow, if you say, although no G2 in it. Half the round has been burned. G2, I mean, it has been a slow round. Like, you know, it's a basement hold from Dark Zero. They're holding just the basement portion itself. They got like Canadian and Pepperstone, like Spiral Staircase, etc. But this is a full one-sided take pretty much from GK. 4 members on the backside, 1 person holding that yellow stairs rotation for any like support to come from the roamers. This comes down to the early engagement. Opening kill here, very important. Seriously, Undergrim can use those Bs, get live, you know, red pings on their defending team, and then try and get some kills going. But it's gonna be like a proper blender situation. The second they step 1 foot too far forward, there's gonna be 2 or 3 guns from Dark Zero, gunning them down. It's not an easy position to find yourself in if you're GK in this round.
Oh, shotgun out, and he can hear it. He swings onto Key, but he's a little bit too slow. Panbazoo wasting those smoke canisters, wasting one of the most valuable anti-plant operators you can think of. Good news for Dark Zero, they've still got Nafe on the Echo. But
do you need to swing that?
Up is important. I mean, I don't think swinging it was a terrible idea, but oh no! Now you've lost the Echo too. Post plants, or at least the execute, will not be in the favor of DZ. With 2 of their best denial operators removed from action. Seriously is dead. Bolo will swing. Good enough for 1. He knows somebody else is there. Losing the duel to Noodle. Only 20 seconds remain, and it's a 2v2. Good enough time for an adrenal surge by Noodle as he and Ashom will march their way to the bomb site. Dark Zero doesn't need to move a muscle. NJR isolated from above. Canadian now will look over top of it. He's got some pings as well, not on the Pulse, but on the Solus. So he'll still have information. He can't see where that diffuser is being planted, and as he drops, he has no information. He's also blinded completely. The play now by Yellow Pillar, by the bomb chassis. Out goes an impact.
Injured.
Gets the injury on Hashom. Now it's him and Noodle in a 1v1. No adrenal surges remaining, so Hashom cannot be retrieved unless Noodle goes and does it manually, which at this point in time, it's unlikely. So Canadian will need to hunt for the last member of GK and then get himself over to the diffuser. But Noodle's positioned in such a way where Canadian will have to fake attempt it. And here it comes. Noodle will look for the swing, but good patience. Canadian falls off. Noodle not giving him what he wants. And it's too late. Kill or no kill. The round was going to GK either way, but Noodle just makes it official before the timer hits 0. 2-0. For GK.
GK both opening kills in both rounds, both plants and both, you know, post plants being held successfully. And it really comes down to details now for the other team. It's Dark Zero that are missing out on small things. And this is where I want to make a direct comparison to old Dark Zero, aka, you know, previous last 2 majors, versus current Dark Zero, where I feel like in the past, Panmusu probably wouldn't have swung that because the mentality is if you're smoke with toxic babes, you gotta stay alive. Current Dark Zero, they are playing more loose, and it really worked out for them on Chalet. But when you have Panmusu in this position and you shotgun Key in the back, taking off the vast majority of his health, you can be happy with that. He's 1 HP. That's not gonna matter in the long run. Like, you can take that fight later. There's 50 seconds left, and the thing is, it's like the dominoes effect. The second Panmusu dies, they lose Crossfire on the Spiral Staircase. Then Nave is alone. Nave dies, they lose the bomb site pressure itself, then it comes down to the flanker or the roamer of Canadian. So one person stepping out of line a little bit too early or dying in a spot that he shouldn't die in, it has a really big immediate negative effect for everybody else. That's why it's kind of a big deal. If Pampa sits back, uses those toxic babes, just like relax a little bit, you're gonna stall out GK. They weren't really problem solving anything, but by running into them and dying, you pretty much give them the answer that they didn't know that they had as an option because you just hand it over. DC are now down 0-2. We gotta see them have their mental in check. And the vibes have been good on Chalet even when they were losing. So far, they look quite alright as well. But it's a slow start from them, and especially Panbasu, who's not had a great game so far in this first best of 3.
It's been a slow start, but I mean, go back to Chalet. GK looked quite bad in those first 2 rounds, if you remember. Then they won the next 2, and it was a completely different ball game from there on out. In fact, they won the next 3, which is what prompted DZ to use their timeout so early on. Panbasu in tough position. That was probably bad information, but goes for a little do-si-do, the run out, the hop back in. Noodle is happy to greet him. It's 3 rounds in a row with GK has struck first.
Yeah, I mean, he was isolated, didn't have anybody on that half the map, and I don't think DC has enough intel right now to make conscious decisions as to where should we be going, where is it safe. And this is the issue. The Valkyrie was banned away from GK, so they played the pulse. That's a good kind of solution to this, but pulse's range and how much intel you gather is much more limited than that of Valkyrie, so they clearly don't know the majority of the map, what's actually going on. And that's what gets someone like Mamus in a bad position there. Solis, pretty crucial in this round, right? This Archive still has bomb site. You deny the bomb site, you go with C4s, you got 3 of them. They swing now 2 people on the staircase, evening back to a 4v4. That's a good way to come back into the round. Now, strategically, DC, 3 C4s in pocket, pulse scanner. They want to deny this upstairs bomb site by playing below. GK got a minute and 10 seconds to figure out how to actually get a plant established or try and go downstairs and pick some kills apart and try and figure out a gap in this bomb site, because right now, they're just... Okay, he won the gunfight. I thought he was going to get slaughtered there.
Rough start for DZ across the board. Not a ton of bright spots so far through these rounds. But I will say getting rid of Hashom is likely a sigh of relief with how he played in the previous map. He hasn't been the star so far through this consulate yet. Noodle yet to die is striking. Can he survive yet another round? Seriously has 2 players lined up. He gets them all. Nafe eliminating Seriously, almost kills himself with his own nitro cell. Plant goes down. Nafe down below. I smell a timeout from DZ after this round.
I could see that as well. I mean, something's not quite right here. Nafe, looking for the 1v3.
What do you do here?
I mean, you look and you die.
5-0 for Noodle, by the way. No deaths through 3 rounds. You pointed it out after the second round. Diffuser down, first blood drawn.
Yep.
Other than maybe an ace or a flawless round, it can't get much better than that for GK. They're doing excellently. DZ are not calling their time.
Oh.
You got it.
And as you say that, Parker, they call their tactical time.
9 seconds left. No timeout called. Haven't heard Nargis as a timeout. I'm like, okay. They're not. And literally as that happens, the Dark Zero timeout stretches across our screen.
But you were still right, because you said this surely is the time for them to do it. And you're right.
Look like more of a clown than my hair does.
And that's saying something.
How dare you?
I mean, you had a phenomenal clown cosplay at the previous Major of Atlanta.
Wasn't even wearing a wig. That's my natural hair.
That's the best part. All you need is a nose and like some colors on your costume. That's it.
I remember this is a funny story now as they go through this timeout, and then we'll talk about this after the fact. So my makeup was like worsening. It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot in the studio in Atlanta. I guess that's why they call it Hot Atlanta. And then we decided to go to an even hotter place by coming to Sao Paulo.
Yep.
Which for me as a Canadian, and I'm sure you also as another northerner,
it's warm.
I'm not used to these heats. I'm not used to this heat, but my makeup was just slowly getting worse. And I was like, oh, like we'll do it as a bit. Like the whole point is that like I'm deteriorating. And somebody came up to one of the makeup artists and they're like, you should go touch up his makeup. Like, do you see it? Like he looks so bad. What's going on here? What are you doing to him? And I'm like, we're not doing anything. That's just what he has done.
Yeah.
And they're like, what have you done? They didn't do anything. Okay, it was all me.
But the makeup artists, they loved it. They loved it.
They loved it.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the red didn't come out of my mustache for like a day. That's terrible. That's terribly unfortunate place for that color to be applied. Either way. Timeout. Now finished. Round started. GK. 3-0. What do you talk about if you're Dark Zero?
Yeah, so there's 2 angles here. Either it's about settling the nerves here, it's like you feel like there's some things that are, not going the right way. Or it's about explaining people like, hey, like, remember guys, like, this is the situation. We got 2 new players. We're here to, like, obviously win, but, like, have fun with it. These are the problems, etc. And I imagine that if you're Dark Zero right now, you're gonna tighten up a bit. Play close together. Don't make those, like, a little bit, like, overly aggressive mistakes. Or if you are going to make those aggressive plays, do it together. Take your nearest body with you and say, hey, I'm gonna swing this guy. I want you to help me. And we're seeing immediately a very big Arbiter lineup change here. The Fenrir, the Kai, the Warden, they're gonna play in-your-face style siege with good guns where they can take those gunfights comfortably and try and lock GK out of map for as long as possible. And when they step forward, they will just take the fight to them. It's not about util anymore. It's about enabling those good players of DC to take the fights.
Dark Zero need to get on the board first. They need to show some level of confidence and competence, frankly, on this map, which has not been the case. GK, excellent at finding the first advantage, the first little misstep by Dark Zero, punishing it. going from there. And time again, we see Geekay exploiting the fact, both on Chalet, but also here, more successfully here on Consulate. There are times where Dark Zero is just not aware of Geekay's advances. Now it's Nave to get softened up quite severely, in fact. Still alive, but very worse for wear. Noodle's first death will come in the 4th round at the hands of NJR with about half of the round to go, just a little bit less. DZ of the best start to a round so far on console.
Yeah, and I'm watching the top-down viewers right now. DC are not moving unnecessarily. They're not swinging aggressive gunfights. Canadian is, of course, roaming and immediately gets shut down. As I say that, Hashom on the armored shotgun is just impossible to stop on that yellow staircase. But besides Canadian falling, it's been a very disciplined and tight round for DC. GK, they can't seem to find any openings or any gaps to abuse right now. It's seriously in the flank. The other 3 members working at lobby portion of the map.
DZ wants to take these gunfights, though. They're not allowing GK to establish any map control unless they earn it. And GK is fighting tooth and nail for that. DZ have lost out on a number of those gunfights across the 3 rounds. This time, though, a sluggish round in terms of kills. 8 players still alive with only 30 seconds left. Diffuser in the hands of Key. Seriously still looking for another opportunity, and he misses the silhouette of 1 player. Down goes Seriously. Trix trades NJR off before Bolo eliminates Hashom, so they will come to blows, largely spread across the map. Key's still with that diffuser while Trix will watch over top. Beautiful shot on to Bolo, not good enough to get Pambazoo, and Nafe shuts it down. DZ finally get on the board.
And cleanly so. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a close round, you can say, but they got a lot of different win conditions. The retake upstairs from Nave to get that final kill. The bombs are playing close together. And yeah, Trix almost had that nasty 3K back to back to back to get that bomb site completely opened up. But a plan did not go down. It was not established. Key didn't feel comfortable enough or covered enough to just stick it. When that toxic bait went out, he came off it multiple times, despite not actually taking damage from it. And that's tough. When you're in a 2 versus 3 or 2 versus 4 and you're trying to plant, it's basically effectively a 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4. Because the guy planting, he can't see a damn thing. He can help the teammate. But look at this, NGR holding down the fort. Bolo, same thing. And even though they won like their individual gunfights, they did have teammates nearby that could try and go for a trade if they failed themselves. Yeah, Nave here saying the same thing as we saw. He was AFK the entire round. He was sitting backstairs, but seriously, and they're holding each other. Like, they're essentially holding each other hostage, making the game from a 4v4 to a 3v3. And usually what will happen is that, you know, defenders, they will get impatient and they will like see that the bomb site action is happening. And then a player like Nave would normally leave that position and go elsewhere. But he stuck around almost the entire time, locking out Seriously from joining the round in that scenario. And it was so worth it. And when he was done holding the flank, he walked upstairs and got the final kill to the hatch as well. So Nave with a really great understanding of what is needed from him. His entire playstyle so far in these first 2 maps has been to support the nearest team member, holding a crossfire, being there for a trade, joining them in on attack, or often holding a flank and trying, or a rotation rather, and getting those kills when the opponent moves a little bit too much. Really great work from Nave so far. This time though, he finds himself on a Warden, so perhaps it's time to seize some action. We'll see our first bandit try and trick those walls, deny the breach. It does just appear that Darkseer don't want to lock out GK and make it as difficult as possible. But Key will get that first wall opened up. Meeting wall has been breached.
They were very quick to do this on round number 1, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Hashom was playing on the Amaru though, and was very quick to get to the top of the building and then hold yellow stairs, denying Dark Zero a play on that part of the map, and more importantly, because the bomb site was on the main floor, cutting off a vital part of the top floor that is used so much in shutting down a plan. I think it was Hashom who got the kill on Bolo early on in that same position as well. This time, of course, he's running an LMG, which is a very rare sight to see. Usually, when operators are played, the LMGs are just too unreliable, so you'd run with the Para on Capitao. Hashom instead going with the LMG.
Bomb located
Your thoughts on this? Give me your thoughts.
I mean, I was gonna say how Hashom likes to like reinvent the wheel. You know, like it's not like no one's done this before. It's just that no one seems to do it at the moment as of right now, and he's bringing it back. Grenade, it won't be cooked, but it won't matter because, well, it will just roll towards the shield and deny Bolo's position. The issue is that, well, my magnet was too far away from that drone hole. Maybe didn't expect it, and now Bolo has to fight for his life in a very tough position. And the thing is, Hashom on the Capitao can toss out a fire arrow, force Bolo away, and then he's gonna be in a very, like, big amount of trouble here. There goes the fire. And there goes Bolo.
And the LMG just tearing through not one but two. Bolo and Pambazoo removed. Hashom doesn't need to reload. He's still got 71 bullets left. A fire hose to spray at DZ. Elsewhere, Noodle eliminating Canadian. Trick's first attempt at the diffuser fails. Will have to go again, and it looks ultimately like it'll be successful. Hashom a third. Nafe in a troubling spot. Another round where Geekay has gotten the diffuser planted. So far.
Hashom is just disgusting right now. I mean, Hashom is tearing it up.
Nafe running away, re-aggressing. Trix looks the wrong way. And Nafe just trying to, I guess, keep some motivation going. Dies to the Trax Stinger. That should be on a bingo card. A Trax Stinger to win you the round. Doesn't happen all that often.
Oh, it does not.
Timeout had already been called. 4-1 though so far for GK. This one is a breeze so far for the Saudi team.
I mean, you can definitely tell that this is a map that GK feel a lot more comfortable on, or maybe
absolutely.
DC they do not, but I will say, you can say like DC are playing sloppy, or they're making mistakes here and there. No, I think genuinely that GK are playing a phenomenal round of Siege, because if you break down the round that we just witnessed, they perfectly dealt with the shield position of Bolo, with the Wamai. Once the shield was gone, they smoked off the meeting door, fired the shield position right here, fired off top, smoked off top spiral, pre-fired the run back, knowing Bolo has to run. Hashom one tap for the smoke on the Pepazoo. Phenomenal stuff. Pre-fire to cover the planter. Either you swing this and die, or you don't swing it and the plant goes down. While that happens, Canadian on Solus was downstairs trying to impact deny the guy planting, but guess what? GK also had a player in lobby. They had everything covered. The nade, the Wamai burn, the fire, the pre-fire, the smoke cover, the plant, and the plant cover. All those were all things that happened like nearly the same time. It was fully set up for exactly what they wanted to accomplish, and then they did just that. Darkseer right now are being out-red on Consulate. They are definitely the worst Consulate team between these two teams. They're always reacting once something has happened, instead of being proactive and again, guys, they're gonna go and clear out Bolo, we gotta help Bolo. Because if they had thought about that, then Nafe on the Warden could rotate over. He's Warden, he can see through those capital smokes. He could have saved the round, arguably, but they're not being proactive about it. So DC gonna figure things out, maybe make this a 2-4 half, then really fight for it on the attack inside, because if not, they gotta go Night Haven Lab, which will be the deciding match, or map rather.
It's the same position being opened up by Key out on balcony. Give them access to a part of the map that actually I don't think we have a consensus call out for at this point. I think some of us call it tables. Because I think catering or something like that's the official call out for it. Back when Consulate was first introduced, we went through, we had a meeting where at least NA was trying to get on the same page with where the callouts would be applied, and well, even we couldn't come to an agreement.
It was tough. And I mean, the thing is, like, players have these like very specific callouts that you only know if you're like in the scene or like you scrim or something. So even what we say is what players would say.
No, and I mean, there's been times where a pro player will come on either as an analyst or as a color commentator, etc., and they'll bring those callouts with them, which to a casual viewer, somebody who's just watching for enjoyment and doesn't actively play the game, might think this is odd. Why would you call it that? All the same, Hashom is rewarded for a good previous round by an early death. Dark Zero strikes first. Track Stingers go out with Seriously now governing over Yellow Stingers. He's got Trix up top with him.
Reload!
I mean, you get top for control, soft destruction towards the bomb site is a good look, but losing Hashom on the Cabot Tower is rather important. Those smokes and fires were crucial previously. And of course, just like the capacity in which Hashom can find kills is very crucial for this team. And GK, they're going to like reevaluate what is going to be the change of pace in this round, because what they wanted to accomplish might no longer be possible the same way any longer. And Dark Zero actually playing proactively, saying Yellow Stairs is important, try and go for a retake. Solus and Pulse, they can see the flank camps, they can see what the players are. If they can establish a retake here, like they did on Chalet, that could just be the way to win the round.
It's been a really triumphant 2 maps so far by Noodle. Down goes Seriously to Bolo, so Yellow Stairs has been the main contest so far for this round. Down goes Nafe. Diffuser in the hands of Trix. I do like that GK has been kind of tossing around that diffuser.
10 seconds left.
Trix will attempt the plant now. You have no time.
For any kind of devices.
He's still holding on to it. He attempted to plant it, dropped it for a second, went on. 2 seconds left in the round, and that's all she wrote. Canadians Nitro Cell gives DZ their second round through 6. First half goes in favor of GK 4-2.
Much better look there for Dark Zero, but this is 1 by 1.
We got this ish.
Yup.
And then, of course, Bolo's yup.
But that is the mentality, especially on attack when you're down. I mean, everyone knows here that realistically, Dark Zero shouldn't win down Consulate, being down 2-4, having a pretty terrible first half on defense in a defender-sided tournament and meta so far. And to make things worse, the Monty's banned by GK. So they obviously came in prepared to not play the Monty themselves. But Dark Zero, if they had planned for it, if they're comfortable playing on that particular operator, that's no longer possible. So 1 round at a time, just like that. The way you think about this as a player is that it's 0-0. It's not 2-4, no. 1 round until someone wins or loses, that's really it. Don't let the nerves get to you when you're close to winning, but also don't start fearing, you know, your opponent or doubting yourself just because you're down a couple of rounds or feel like you're losing and performing pretty poorly. Of course, easier said than done.
10 seconds left.
We all are humans, we do have emotions that affect us, and when you're a player, there are so many factors that go into it. Confidence in yourself and your team is extremely important.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
For a lot of players, it's hard to deal with. You have a slow start to tournament, slow start to a match, you start being like, can't really hit my shots, boys. Like, what am I gonna do? And all you can do as a team is say, you got this. Next round is yours. Next map is yours, etc., etc., etc. And don't lose trust. Spawn peaks, early aggression here. GK slowing down Dark Zero, saying, you're slow in Chalet. If you're gonna be equally slow here in Consulate, you might just run out of time.
These first 2 rounds are going to be incredibly important. You cannot allow GK to win this first round. Can't let him to win the second either. I don't see Dark Zero coming back from a 6-2 at that point. Then you just slap the go next button and then you essentially gamble on Nighthaven Labs. But pacing is going to be really important here. How fast can DZ assemble some map control and get into the building?
It's a good question. They use a Grim Bee, nades, some stingers, all from outside the building. And again, yellow stairs might be the focus right now, but first they open windows, they apply this like phantom pressure. We're like a ghost, you know, you don't really know exactly where we are, but we're just like in the wall somewhere. We got yellow pings on the yellow side of the map, so it might be a yellow skylight CO take here.
Grenade tossed down onto yellow stairs. We're seeing frag grenades being used yet again.
Ooh.
Pambazoo looking for more. He's got a shotgun this time. Noodle, I think, managing to take out the bees. Defending this position right now, but he'll get collapsed upon very quickly. Noodle with the first kill, but it's 2 in a row for Dark Zero. As now they assert themselves towards the bomb site, but Bolo's been cut down to size by Trixt, who doesn't find a second as it's seriously credited with the kill. Trixt punished for that. Dark Zero still with 2 uprights, the 2 to match GK, but it's NJR now is the last one standing as the Nitro Cell from Seriously connects. Him and his Shome still remaining. Seriously now tying Noodle for 8 kills to top GK. NJR has some semblance of an idea as to where these players from GK are. He's got 45 seconds. Clock will continue to tick. Getting rid of the bulletproof camera, but great patience right now from GK. Tucked away inside of that catering tables area that we mentioned before. NJR squares his body away so he cannot be shot at, but now re-aggressing. Trying to get Seriously out of that cubby hole, softening up his Shome. Both players so low, but NJR just looks a hair above. Excellent patience from GK as they win their 5th round and are but 2 away from pushing us to a 3rd map.
It's actually a very, very beautiful 1 versus 2 to watch from both teams. Often it's like messy from one side, but NGR had a perfect read on the exact locations of both of the defenders. Yet GK also had that near perfect crossfire where if one person was in a combat situation, the other member would swing out and kind of equalize it into a 2 versus 1. And it really came down to who's going to hit your shot the best. If NGR hit the Jaeger headshot there, peeled back, could hit the the Warden proning, etc., maybe he wins the round. But if you don't hit those near pixel perfect shots, that crossfire will for sure be your doom as the sole player. And it came down to again, very, very small things. Look at the sloppiness of Dark Zero. Bolo sprinting into the angle, dying to cover the planter, and then things kind of fall apart. They didn't get that strong foothold they were looking for, where they felt comfortable to make an active plant attempt. But the initial start was good. Hibana shotgun in, yellow staircase, Bolo follows up with a trade 1-for-1. You get that 4v4 near the bomb site that you want as an attacker on Consulate. But if a bomb doesn't go down, you're not having a good time. And that's what Geekay did so well. Out of 6 rounds, they won 4 of them. In all of those 4 rounds, when they were attacking, they got the opening kill and they got the bomb planted. That is how you find success here. It's not all that often that you just go for broke and go just purely for kills. You typically have bomb site play be a part of Consulate. And it's why we see both teams bring out something like the Ying, the Capital, the Grim, the Gridlock, etc. Because it is about getting to that stable position. DC now will change things and go into like the Brava, the Thatcher, the Capital, the Ying, heavily favoring utility. Geekay, however, they're pretty aggressive here. Melusi, Fenrir, Solis, Lesion, they can go for swings. They can try and risk 1 or 2 players, and if you kill any of those important operators like the Ying or the Capital, you get an incredible amount of value there for a 1-for-1 trade.
It's been a cakewalk so far for Geekay through most of this map. At this current point, I think you can argue that they've looked like the better team through 2 maps, but alas, DZ won Chalet. Getting more and more likely like we're going to need Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah.
Loading new Meg.
As Geekay now sits on what I'd imagine is the more favorable side. Geekay picked the map and Geekay picked the map and DZ opted to go in the very first round on the defense. Didn't work out for them the way they wanted, which is ultimately what is the biggest warning sign.
It's very direct attacks from Dark Zero. I mean, there's like Oz at the breach, Pemus is rotating backside. It's like a 4-1 take right now, it looks like. Yeah, 4 guys front side. Pemus is looking for something, an intro-A, place to backstab perhaps. But you can't just walk in with Ying Capital. That's too simple. Yeah, you see vertical from Noodle. He has got piano control. Toxic Babe's going out. Still 1 in pocket. Solar can see if you're planting exactly where you're planting. This looks like it's too simple for DC. I'm not sure I'm sold on this. They're gonna try.
You still got some tricks up your sleeves if you're GK, and you've got utility in pocket. Bolo walks in, slaughtering 2. Nave dies, but advantage is still Dark Zero, and Pambazoo will take no prisoners as he sprints through the bomb site. Canadian's not too far off. DZ have full control. GK's players are ranged upstairs. This could be a great bait, but 3 kills so far from Bolo as the diffuser goes down means that any bait or any trap that GK might have set has been picked apart by DZ. A 4th from Bolo, but a single kill separating him from what could be our 2nd ace of this series. All he needs to do is find Noodle. Lords above, but DZ's not that team. They want the kill and they don't care who gets it. Noodle shrugging off some damage. Timer continuing to run away. This is a big round for DZ. Advantage still for GK, but it's NJR to get the final one. A 4K for Bolo. Denied every single one. But the bigger fish that they land is victory in that round. And DZ will stay alive for the time being.
I mean, I'm still not sold on the take itself, but if Bolo walks in and gets 3 kills like that, anything can work. It doesn't matter what you're going to be doing. But what I will say is that DC did have a good read on most of the gaps there. They kept our smoke off the ceiling, and they recognized that Bolo got the 2 kills on site. Push all the way through. You're not playing inside of the garage. You're like cafeteria bomb set instead all the way through. There's no verticality. You can't get flanked as much. And then we see it. Bolo picking up 1, picking up 2. And then, of course, also held the flank. Perfect play there from Jason. Literally locking down every single angle imaginable. It wasn't pretty to start things off. You wanted an ace, and I get that. If you're coming back after over a year of being out of the pro scene, and you're in your 2nd map here in the first game, I too would want my ace, you know? And rightfully deserved. Bolo single-handedly changed the outcome of that round.
10 seconds remaining.
3-5 now. DC finding some comfortability now, finding some
5
success.
seconds left.
And the one thing that will work for them, they are very flexible in terms of the operators they can play.
Attackers are
We've seen
moving
Bolo
to
play
the
Ash a
bomb.
couple times, the Canadian play utility operators, playing Entry, playing Lurk, etc. So it really comes down to what they think is gonna work the best, and that likely will be based solely off what bomb set they're going to be attacking. With Valkyrie being banned, there's no reason to play the IQ really. Echo doesn't really see play typically on constant either. So just get uncomfortable, strong operators. Soft destruction, of course, very favorable. And something like a Jackal, since Dokkaebi is banned, is excellent for Canadian to find those roamers and try and isolate some of those kills and build an early lead. That's what they did on Chalet. DC almost exclusively found every single opening kill when they were on the attack side. They need to try and replicate that here on console as well to even the numbers right now. Jason's being droned in, holding an angle, waiting for a rotation, but nothing's really come of this yet. GKR comfortably just playing upstairs.
You on a first name basis with Bolo?
Jason. That's my boy, yeah? You know, he was actually at my house in Vegas a couple times. What's hype like that?
Going live.
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Very cool.
It's like copy pasta where it's like, he's my friend. I can say his name.
He's my friend. He's our friend.
It's a much longer copy pasta, and I'm not about to dig it out. So, first Jackal as well in this matchup that we've seen. First Capkin that we've seen.
Capkin.
So nice to keep track of the operators that aren't played with the same prevalency as the other operators on the board. Even an operator like Ash, who for a period of time wasn't shown all that much, is now... There's a bit of a delay there. I think he had to prime the shotgun, I'm not sure. After a very good round from Dark Zero, it is answered back by a not-so-great round. Canadian is dead, as is Pambazoo, and Pambazoo is having quite a poor map so far. In fact, he didn't really have a terrific Chalet either. I think he was NJR finished with 16 kills or something like that, which is a huge component of why they were able to eke out that victory 7-5. Bolo almost nearsighted by Trixt, but just as the fog was coming in, Hasham finishing him off. No flawless round so far.
No.
In either of these maps. GK primed and ready for it. Only 50 seconds left to find the final 2 kills. Get a flawless round and move on to map point.
Oh, he almost sees the Solus to the crack in the floor. Oh.
JR downed. Finished off. Hasham, 2 kills. Looking to break double digits. Will they silence Nafe before he can get on the board? Yes. Seriously, giving a flawless one to GK, and they are pummeling DZ. Objectively the better team in almost every measure right now, as GK are looking locked and loaded for Nighthaven Labs.
One of the difficulties about ever making like significant roster changes, quote unquote, shortly before a big event, is that there are 9 maps in the pro map pool right now. It is a lot of maps to learn, and while you can argue that every team can play like maybe like a Chalet or an Oregon because they're quite default, they've been around for a very long time and they don't differ all that much from team to team, Consulate, as mentioned earlier, isn't quite like that. And I feel like it's very evident that Dark Zero don't look all that comfortable, especially on the attacking side. It doesn't look like it's super thought out. They just seemed like they walked in the building, crouch walking around, didn't have like a really good grasp of what was about to happen. Yeah, let's blow them out a bit there, Nave. I'm sure that's the reason why you're not dropping kills right now. 6 and 7, doing much better on Chalet, of course. Now, but yeah, like, it seems like the overall plan isn't quite coming together for Dark Zero right now, and I think that might be a mixture of 2 things. Either, let's say, Nave and Canadian, the 2 callers of the team, they have different ideas of how to approach this map, or simply that they haven't really scrimmed this all that much, or they are not getting enough intel. That's something to consider. When you are droning on the attacking side, that is how you gain all your intel to make decisions. If your droning is poor, either because you play a mute or a Solace, or a lot of drones are dying, or your teammates aren't droning that effectively, you cannot make good active decisions. So it comes down to guessing and taking risks and blindly walking through doorways and taking that gamble, and we see time and time again someone like Pambazoo walking through a pathway and just die. Either knowing an enemy is there and losing the gunfight, or not knowing exactly where the enemy is and just having no real chance to win it in the first place. I want to see DC helping Pambazoo more in the early round, because they need entries. Need to get in the building, need to gain control, need to gain a foothold, and Pambazoo usually is your guy to do that. Bolo and Ash last round was crouch walking around the map, in the basement, and lobby, etc. But the second he made contact with an enemy, he got nearsighted by a Fenrir and he died. Like, that was it. So much effort and so much time, but nothing was truly gained. Pambazoo first in again. No help, very much alone here, but logging down Visa at least to help his team take control of the admin upstairs.
Track Stingers deployed, 3 more remaining for Bolo. Honestly, doesn't really show much rust. They've been scrimming like crazy if you talk to the players on DZ. I mean, it's SI. What team hasn't been scrimming like crazy? But when you have 2 new players coming in and you do change up your system a little bit, as we've seen from Dark Zero so far, obviously a small snapshot, but You need to get those players in to acclimate. There go the EMPs. Seriously, still stalwart in this position. Pambazu dies to Noodle again. You cannot have Pambazu going 2 and 7, especially on entry, if you want any hope of winning this matchup.
No.
Might seem a bit reductive just to say that and that alone, but I think that is a huge part of it.
No, it is. It goes to like, he needs help. All of DC right now, they need help. Geekay, they have vertical control. They got so many like holes in the floor. They know what corners are clear when they can't get like pushed out of. Like they have this so figured out all the way through. And Dark Zero, they just can't seem to break it apart. They can't seem to find any gaps or weaknesses. It's a really solid concept from Geekay.
I don't know if they knew that Hashom was in there, but as he was proning, he accidentally fired. And as he did that, he's given his position away, which is intel that Nafe will use.
Oops.
The greater issue right now for Dark Zero is not necessarily just kills, but retrieving that diffuser. I don't know if a plant is what DZ has on their mind. Down goes Bolo, and I think at this point, it's a mental reset for Nighthaven Labs. NJR and Nafe in a 2v5. It was a flawless previous round for GK. They can basically do the same thing and put an exclamation mark on this map, but NJR has something to say about it. Noodle and Key double up for kills, and this one was fast. DZ looking like a fish out of water as GK